first.
Great. Oh, and
Spend
these
about
testimonials are just for positive Dhamma experiences, correct? Just in general?
within circumstances, yes. Okay, so
Great.
everybody, welcome to the Saturday morning Sangha call. It's Friday evening in the States. And today we're going to have kind of a special one in the sense that people are going to be giving testimonials and their experience with the Dhamma and other things like that. Don't hog too much time, about 5 or so minutes, and then you can have a second go later. So the first off would be Robert, because Robert's got a special story that he wants to tell you. Go ahead, Robert. I'll leave it up with you now.
Hi, everyone. So I reached out to Dhammarato because I had this really positive realization I had today. And it's related to generosity and giving, Dana, and how rewarding I found that to be for me recently. So I haven't even told Dhammarato what this is about. I just said I had something positive to share today. And anyway, so I have a cousin who has had, various serious mental health issues. And I saw him recently at a family Seder, actually, half Jewish. He was there, and I thought I could help my cousin by bringing him to a float tank, which is like a sensory deprivation tank. It's kind of like a meditative.
50 years ago, they called it a samadhi tank.
Yeah, they are
Generally
still called
salt
samadhi
water.
tanks. They're still called that. Same thing with salt water. They called the traditional samadhi tank is one of the types of tanks they have there. And it's a really great relaxer because it's total darkness, total silence, and you're floating in this tank of 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt, and it's lukewarm, so it's body heat, so it's not too warm, not too cold, and you just relax there. It's like a meditation enhancer, which is one way I'd describe it, because there's no distractors, and you have the physiological de-stress from the salts and the magnesium. So I decided to invite my cousin to one of these tanks because I thought it could help him with his different mental health issues. And I took him to the tank last Friday, and I noticed he was significantly improved after just one float, to a point where I was actually pretty amazed by his amount of improvement. And I'm going through a stressful time in my life right now, so I don't have a lot of money to spend on helping others or any other such matters. So, but I just felt in my heart and in my gut that this was going to help my cousin. So I bought him with not much in the bank right now, a whole month membership, and I set up a schedule for him and I to go together, 3 times per week, and then send each other logs of the other times that we don't go together on about how our float was. And today he completed his first week, and he's noticeably, hugely improved, which I'm actually quite amazed by his progress. I'm really very enthused about it. And it was actually really moving for me to help my family member in this way and have him also be very appreciative, which isn't why I did it, but it was really nice. Like, he really appreciates this extent I've gone to help him. And I've also had other family members recently that I've been helping, and I've really been tracking, including my parents have each had health issues recently, and I've really been tracking the way that they've been improving, and I found it really gratifying just to see them improve. And I have another person in my life, shall we say, who I've tried to help a lot with a lot of other things, that has not been happy at all about any of my great lengths I've tried to help this person. And so to see other people really benefit from my help in a great way and improve, and to not have my ego be a part of that, but to just see the improvement and to celebrate their improvement with them and encourage them on the amount of improvement they've been able to make. This has been immensely rewarding for me recently. today, especially. I was really moved. My cousin sent me a message how in that float tank, he felt for the first time in a long time that he could hear himself, that he could really put things together for himself in that tank. And it really moved me because I wasn't even part of that. All I did was bring him to the he's the one that did the work in the tank, and I was happy to be there to help him do it, help make the connection, and then get out of the way. So here's to Donna.
Well, the Buddha was really big on seclusion, but the samadhi tanks seem to be extra seclusion,
Yep.
so you can really listen to what you have to say rather than paying attention to your um, body postures or the things in the room. That getting it very quiet and very visually isolated, etc., like that, is a real seclusion, so that the only thing you've got left in there is you. I remember the
Yep.
one time that I was in a samadhi tank, that it was the salt water that was the only thing that I had to deal with. The salt would get in my ears and whatnot like that. So I think that they've got pillows that they will rest on the water so that you can keep your head floated above the salt uh, solution. So
Yes,
thank you,
and
Robert. That's not what I was expecting to hear from you.
I know it's a whole new story. I haven't even mentioned any of this to you, but one more thing to add to your point you were just saying about and relate it to my cousin is he's had this disorder where he's only been able to speak in fragments. And so his speech doesn't make logical sense when he talks. You have to really try to understand him. And when he went to the tank the first time, I took him once, I noticed he was making much more sense. He still had to try it, but he was making way more sense. And then 1 week later, he's making even more sense. And I was just really thrilled that that seclusion allowed him to make more sense in his mind.
I have heard, and there's evidence, that one of the reasons why people have various kinds of speech impediments is because they can't think straight. And so they can't speak straight. And so when the mind settles down, we can actually put together a more coherent sentence. So what you're saying goes along with that evidence that I've heard before. All right. Well, thank you, Robert. Let's see somebody else. Why don't we give Michael Clark a 5-minute go?
Hey everyone. I've been listening to Dhammarato for a few years now. Originally, though, I was more involved with the Discord group and with DJ just because I was living on the other side of the world and that time aligned a bit better. But one thing I have always been very impressed with this song in particular isn't just Dhammarato, but actually his students or his friends, as he likes to call him. And so what some people may not even know about is for about a year, DJ and I were doing Sangha Calls on the Discord group every Saturday. And there was many times where nobody else would join. It would just be me and DJ hanging out. But I was just so impressed that even DJ, who hadn't been a monk or anything like this, was able to articulate the Dhamma so well from having learned it from Dhammarato and from Bhikkhu Buddhadasa. And DJ and I became very good friends. And now, if you go on our Discord Saturday calls, I've been seeing like, oh, wow, there's like 10, 12, however many people on there. It's not just how it was with just like DJ and me, and that's it. And so I've been really, very happy to see that. And I think that in and of itself is just evidence of how impactful the Dhamma can be. It can really just help like bring people together, help people become friends with each other. And I feel that many of the people I've become friends with and the Sangha, I don't ever really see a future or a day where I wouldn't be friends with them anymore. And I feel very happy to be that way, because there are friends that I've had in lay life, we'll say, which, I'm still a lay person, but in ordinary life, where I've
Your
been friends
life
with
is
them.
not ordinary. Folks, if you can see his background and my background, you can figure out that we're on the same porch.
Sure, yeah. But
So, Michael, how long have you been here?
on the porch,
Yes.
what is it, 3 months now or something like this?
Okay. Is it
Yeah.
very much like a Watt?
Yeah, yeah, it matches up very, very closely. But yeah, one thing I did want to say is that, in ordinary life, I've had friends where it was like, oh, I was friends with them for a long time, maybe even 10 years, and something happened and we're not friends anymore. And a lot of that comes to just, we didn't know how to handle the dukkha that was arising in our friendship, basically. And here in the Sangha, it's very much encouraged to deal with that dukkha right now, in the here now. Deal with it within yourself so that you can make it easier to be friends with one another. So that's pretty much most of what I have to say. Is I'm just really impressed by the power of friendship, we'll say. And
Excellent.
it's so great to see that here and to see that among all the Sangha members.
Thank you. All right. So, Daniel, you can go next.
Hello, friends. So I'm gonna keep it short and simple. About 1.5 years ago, I met Dhammarato through the Guru Viking interview, which was really good. And when I first started practicing with Dhammarato, I found it still quite difficult. And actually, in that first period, I went to the
Move
Wat
your
that I'm
move your
currently
phone
staying at.
around. Daniel, move your
Uh,
phone around so that they can see how you're dressed. All I see is from the chin up.
I'm actually in my kuti, so I'm not wearing my robes now.
All right.
So yeah, I'm a novice monk now, a Samanera, and the Wat I'm currently staying at is the same Wat that I visited when I just had started practicing with Dhammarato, and I only stayed for 2 days because I was so uncomfortable staying in the Thai Wat, and I didn't really know how to practice yet. So it's quite funny to see myself here now as a novice monk and being able to make my mind really comfortable. And yeah, I don't think without the Dhammarato and the teachings from Bhikkhu Buddhadasa and the help from the Sangha, I would have been able to get the confidence I needed to become a monk and to live this life.
Tell
So
us
for
a
that, I
little
am
about
really grateful.
Ajahn Santi.
Ajahn Santi, so Eric, who is also a monk, for those who don't know, met Ajahn Santi at Wat Suamo, and he has been a monk for almost 30 years. And yeah, what I really like about him is that you can tell that he really has the Dhamma, because he has never criticized me for anything. He's just wants to show me his enthusiasm for the Dhamma, his goodwill, his encouragement, and this for me, yeah, has worked much better than because when people criticize me, then I just don't want to listen to them. So he has really helped me, get into the Dhamma and take responsibility for all my duties as a monk. And he has made my stay here very pleasant. He has taught me a lot about the Dhamma. So that has been really good. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say.
All right. Alex, I am so happy to see you, man. Today we're having a special event, and I'm really happy to see you. I thought that I would mention that. Let's see. David, you go next. You're actually, David is within a couple of kilometers of here. He's at Wat Khao Tum.
Yeah, that's right. I'm staying on Koh Phangan at Wat Khao Tum, and been here for about 5 months. Been on Thailand for 1 year and 2 months now. So you just want me to speak about my experience in the Dhamma? Or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So I first got to know Dhammarato about 3 years ago through a video. He did an interview with Daniel Ingram online. It was called Is There Magic in the Dhamma? So this is how I got to know Dhammarato. And yeah, I was feeling really inspired by that video and the way he teaches. And then I found out he was a student of Bhikkhu Buddhadasa. And then I started to get into Buddhadasa's works. Yeah, and I found like I really resonated with all that, all his teachings. Because I never really resonated with like traditional Buddhism, actually. I never really resonated with like traditional, you could say ordinary Buddhism. But when I found Bhikkhu Buddhadasa, then that was like a real, I was really inspired that there was a monk, pretty famous monk that was teaching in the way that he does. So then, yeah, I've been practicing Dhamma for a long time now, and I feel like I could no longer continue my life like in normal society. So that's why I just left, and now here in Thailand, I just stay in Wats, just visit different Wats and hang out. And I don't really like I'll cut that point off. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say there. Generally, I feel happy day to day. I feel really happy here living at Wat Khao Tam. I don't have any problems, no stress. So I think that is what the Dhamma is about, right? It's just to be happy and not suffer. Yeah.
Very great. Thank you, David. Wat Khao Tum is a Wat that I have been, let us say, occasionally associated with since 1984. And I'm very pleased that the recent changes, are such that people will be able to go and stay there. We'll use David as our contact so that people can find a way. It's on top of a hill. It's completely forested. A huge number of boulders. It's very, very quiet, and it doesn't have very many visitors. And so it's kind of a samadhi tank on its own.
Yeah, it's pretty peaceful here. Not many people, although the people kind of just go to the viewpoint. Every Waltz, there's not many people coming through, and not many monks. Yeah, the monks come and go here. Sometimes there's a few, sometimes there's just two. And it's a good place, yeah, to have solitude and silence. And it's very cool and good weather here.
Very good. Thank you. Can we next hear from Dhammadas? Dhammadas and I are old friends.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I muted?
Yes, I can hear you. Go right ahead.
There's not really much to say. I just I got into the Dhamma from reading books, and I was baptized a Catholic, And I always liked what Jesus taught rather than what the Christians were teaching. And I dived into some esoteric kind of Christianity, like the Cathars and the Gnostics and Leo Tolstoy's version of Christianity. Then around 17 or so, I got into the Dhamma and Buddhadasa Bhikkhu, Ajahn Chah, Ajahn Sumedho, Ajahn Brahm, and started practicing, and Thich Nhat Hanh and Zen and Zen Master Ikku, read some of their books and poetry, Zen Master Ryukin, Shimsen, and I've just been practicing ever since, really, and it's helped me significantly, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and but I feel great. I feel like everything's just perfect, really. And yeah, that's about it.
Very good. Very good. Ross, can we hear from you next?
Yeah, sure, guys. I've got to be quick though, because I've got to jump off the call. But yeah, look, my background's Sri Lankan. You know, Sri Lankans tend to be Buddhists, and so culturally, I was brought up a Buddhist. I always remember going to the temple and chanting Pali, wondering what it's all about, and seeing Vishnu, Krishna, all in the same place. Actually, I'll never forget an incident where we had the Buddha statue at home, and it fell down, and it cracked. And my mum said, "This is really bad luck." And ever since then, from the time I was about 10 to about 35, anything that bad that happened to me, I always pinned it down to that statue falling down from the ledge. So anyway, culturally brought up as a Buddhist, didn't know what it meant. Then sort of deep dived into Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, did the whole supermarket of Buddhism, had all the books. And about 5 years ago, I just got all my books and threw them away. I was just so sick of it because I wasn't getting any happier. And then I started getting into Sufism. I checked all the other religions out, and I came to this conclusion: it's all a crock of shit. So, led my life. Things were going okay, up and down, and then I came across Dhammarato again through the Guru Viking podcast, I think. And for the very first time, I actually understood what Buddhism was about. And in a nutshell, everything's okay. That's all it is.
Don't worry, be happy. That's it.
Everything is okay, and it's good enough. And it's made a huge difference because I'm not searching anymore. And any time that I catch myself falling down or going into some sort of hole in terms of thought, I just have to remind myself that I've caught it and life is okay. I'm pretty chilled out. So Dhammarato, I thank you very much.
My pleasure. All right, Anna, can we hear from you next?
Hello all. So I believe, first of all, I need to thank you, Dhammarato. I believe I know you for a year right now. I heard you in Guru Viking as well, and I really liked your voice. So I decided that if the voice is right, I need to talk to you. And I kind of like somehow hanging out with spirituality about 12 years. So I mostly will talk about feelings. I really enjoy your energy, guys. So I really like to come to just to gain some youth and energy you bring to the world. And what I can say about myself, after talks, personal talks with Dhammarato, I feel like I kind of getting lighter and easier. So I'm not looking for anything, but I just kind of I would say, I don't know. What is my search? I kind of have search, but not for the meaning. I just looking for the search for the next turn, not for the meaning anymore. With the meaning, I am good. I don't have any problem with the meaning. So I guess that's all I can say right now. And I just was listening to a lecture on philosophy. You know, I became much smarter than before. I didn't expect, but suddenly everything's so clear. Wow. You don't need to make any efforts anymore.
Actually, I haven't talked with folks about this point that you're making, and that is that when you spend time alone in seclusion and start looking at what you're thinking, and most specifically to take control of what you're thinking and start making positive changes in your thoughts, it makes positive changes in your life. But the point that Anna is making is that your intelligence goes up quite a lot. Robert Cohen, I know you're more intelligent now than you were 3 years ago. It really helps.
Confirmed.
Why is that? Is because when we're actually learning something, intentionally learning, whether it's reading a book or watching a video or a documentary, whatever, we can actually pay closer attention. And a clear example of that is if you pay attention to where you set your keys down, you know where they are and you can go get them easily. But if you absentmindedly set your keys down, then you may not remember where they are, and now you have to go looking all over the house for them instead of just remembering where it was. So your memory actually improves. And that's a kind of a contradiction or a catch-22 because of the whole quality of the teaching of the Buddha is to come out of the past and all of our memories and living our lives that way and be in the present moment. But the only way that we can reconcile that is that to recognize that learning always happens right now. You can't learn something from the past. You can only learn right now with sensory input and processing it. And so by being in the present moment, your memory actually improves quite a lot. Does anybody have experience and know what I'm talking about? David, I'm sure you do. How about you, Daniel? You know that you're getting smarter.
Yeah.
How about you,
I noticed a
Dhammarato?
big
You
difference.
know you're getting smarter. Mm-hmm. All right.
For me today, when I was meditating, I felt energy kind of moving in the back left side of my brain. And I feel like I'm going to attribute that to the mind rewiring, potentially getting smarter.
Yes, that's a way of speaking. That's a metaphorical way of speaking is wiring, but people didn't use the word wiring years ago because they didn't have electric wiring anywhere. 100 years ago, nobody would have that kind of a concept. But your actual memory is able to improve because we're paying attention to what we're doing rather than being lost in thought. So Daniel, go ahead and Dylan, go ahead and continue with your testimonial. What kind of practice have you had?
Sorry, you asking me or Daniel?
Dylan?
Yeah, you're asking me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So when I meditate, I suppose I practice different things. Right now I do half an hour of yoga. It's a group of practices from AYP. And the idea is you do those yoga practices to help prepare the mind for meditation. So I do that, and I spend about an hour a day meditating, just focusing on the body or focusing on the breath. And usually when I do that, I feel a lot of, I guess, energies kind of moving through the body. And it can be quite uncomfortable sometimes. sometimes I feel a lot of pain in different places in the body for no reason. It just comes up. And recently I've been noticing a lot of repressed or past memories that I haven't thought about for years start to arise, which is interesting because I very rarely think about the past. And so I think a lot of memories of the past have been repressed from trauma and things like that. And so meditation is allowing all those conditionings to finally be processed and released, or the pain body or the trauma that is stored in the body to be processed. So yeah, I'd say that's what I'm going through right now.
Okay. Dylan, you're new. Have you been on our calls before?
No, it's the first time. So I was in Koh Phangan about, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe a month ago now, and I was walking around the Wat that David stays at, and then I just walked by his door and I asked him about, I think there's a Buddha's foot or something like that. I asked, where is it? And then I started talking to him about meditation. We chatted for an hour or two. It was fantastic. And then he sent me the Skype call link. And so when I went back to Sydney, I joined. And this is my first time. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, I look forward to you giving me a call so we can discuss your practice.
Yeah, sure. Love to.
Okay. So next, let's hear from Andrew. Hello, Andrew. This is your first call, too.
Hi there. I've been on the last week's call as well when I was in Thailand, but I'm back in Perth now, Perth, Australia.
I've been to Perth.
Oh, you've been there?
Yes, Perth and Fremantle, and I know Ajahn Brahm built a Wat there.
Yeah. I've got a friend from that I've known since primary school who's a monk there, actually. Apparently he's quite a good he's quite good at the jhanas. That's Ajahn Brahm's thing. But yeah, I've never really been too much into Ajahn Brahm as such. Like it's just not hasn't resonated with me as much as like your kind of teachings have. The thing, so I basically started getting into the Dharma basically about 2013. So what's that, like 11 years ago now? And I went through various teachers and stuff like that until I found something that really clicked with me, and that was the teachings of Rob Burbea. Have you heard of Rob Burbea?
Who?
Rob Burbea.
Michael, can you help me with the name?
Rob Burbea. Rob
Freedom
Burbea.
that frees.
Freedom that yes. Seeing that frees, is it?
Yeah, Rob Burbea. Yeah, he's from the US, isn't he?
He's from the UK. Well, he's actually dead now. Yeah, but he was taught by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. So a lot of the stuff that I found that really clicked with me, it was actually from Thanissaro Bhikkhu when I started looking into his teachings.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all Anapanasati based, really. So yeah, that's why I feel resonance with your teachings as well. Yeah, so I've been basically doing Anapanasati style meditation for a while now. But yeah, not really not really to the degree of like following, the step 1, step 2, step 3 and all that. But I have been putting a lot of emphasis on gladdening the mind, which I think's really crucial for me anyway.
That's a major part of the practice. That's the part that, in fact, that so many miss. That's one thing about Ajahn Brahm that I will say is that he has gladdened his mind quite a bit, and his practice is pretty good. He's still a monk after all of these years, and that one of the issues that so many people have is that he's very, very magically oriented. He has really strange beliefs of rebirth and the magic of the jhanas and other things like this, and so that's kind of off-putting to some.
Yeah, to me,
To where the real teaching of the Buddha, through Bhikkhu Buddhadasa, and what I've learned is that it always has to do with what you're doing right now, not what you want to do some other time.
Yeah, I love that.
Magic is something that we always want to do later when we learn how. A rebirth is something that we want to do after we die. And the real teaching of the Buddha has to do with what are we doing right now? So, Andrew, do you have any more?
So I got through a stage in my practice where it was really, really beneficial for me. Like I was like, it was undeniable the benefits that I was getting from you know, basically it was like anapanasati. It was I was getting to a stage where I could get so much joy from the breath, and also to be able to remember.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm now getting, so I kind of like got derailed a little bit, slightly through to a like due to kind of like, I guess you could call it wrong view, where I was kind of trying to strive too much and getting in sort of I got into a I don't want to go too deep into it, but yeah, it got into sort of like an argument with management at my work and stuff like that, like about, you know, instead of like just letting things be, I was kind of starting to you know, fight the way things are in a way, because I could see a better way of doing things, sort of thing, in my mind. And that kind of led me up, sort of derailed me a bit, and I kind of like lost yeah, just didn't practice as much. It was still always there, but then yeah, actually recently listening to the like I still listen to talks on YouTube and stuff like that, and I found you through also through Guru Viking, and it was kind of, yeah, your approach that sort of got me back into that, yeah, it got me back on the path a bit. So yeah, I've started to get back to
you.
Yeah, thank you. Started to get back to a point now where I am starting to really keep like mindfulness of the way I'm breathing and the way I'm feeling throughout the day, and but yeah, there are still things that, you know, that challenges, obviously, but yeah, I'm definitely on the right path now, I think.
Okay, well, thank you. You're welcome to call me. We can talk privately. All right, so Leonardo, you're also new today. Thank you for joining us. Please tell us a bit about yourself and your practice and what you've been doing.
I've been practicing for about 3-4 years. I started out in Brazil when I was there on a little tropical island called Boipepa, out in the jungle, and I had a spiritual girlfriend. So I went into mindfulness, and that brought me into Buddhism, and I've been following Buddhism ever since. I've been kind of shopping all over for different teachers, but I will definitely say that Ajahn Chah is my go-to. Definitely the forest tradition there. And
yes, he's dead now, but he's a fellow.
Yeah, he's been dead for a while.
With Bhikkhu Buddhadasa. Bhikkhu Buddhadasa was one of Ajahn Chah's teachers. That in fact I met Ajahn Chah at Wat Suan Mok.
Okay. Nice to know.
So I highly approve of Achan Chah. He's got quite a following with Achan Samedo, Achan Amaro, Achan Janto, all of those. Achan Brahm is actually a student also of Achan Chah.
He kind of says it in a way that I understand it. And my teaching, my practice now is to find the quietness, complete quietness of mind, to access kind of the thoughts before the thoughts, the mind before the words, and rest in that state. And then I'm taking that meditative state from meditation out into real life, if you want to call it that. So I'm working on that now, and I met Michael at the Dipa Pavan in Koh Samui. And he told me about Koh Phangan, and I hadn't been, despite I've been in Asia for like over a year. So I thought Koh Phangan it is, and I came here, and I just found this beautiful place to stay on top of the secret mountain, all secluded, just nature around, perfect view. So I'm sitting here for 6 months, just started, and then I met Michael yesterday. I was just like, oh, I gotta get after this guy. And luckily he remembered me from Sipa Pavan. And we were sitting there next to each other for a little week, not talking. But after the week, I said, okay, this guy knows something about something. So it seems like he led me here, and he led me to you. So that's kind of my story in the short mist of it all.
Leonardo, I'm happy to meet you. Give me a call, or better still, if you're on the island, come over.
I will.
Come
I will
spend an hour
definitely
or
do.
two on the porch with us.
Yes. Thank you for the invitation.
So I think that we've done the round robin now. Everybody who's still online has talked. So let's start again with Robert. Robert, you've got more stuff for us. So
Oh, I do?
yes.
I felt pretty happy with what I shared today. For today, I'll leave it at that.
Congratulations with
I'll save
your
more for later.
generosity.
Just really, to me, the big point, the samadhi stuff was great, but the point I really wanted to emphasize was how great it felt being generous. Even without that much to give right now at this moment, just that act of helping others and seeing them really succeed really delighted me. And that's my big testimonial for today. And I'm sure I'll have more testimonials in the future. Wink, wink, Dhammarato. But for now, that's the one I'd really like to focus on, is how great that generosity felt to me, even with not a ton to give right now.
I know
great.
what you mean. I know what you mean, Robert. To be honest with you folks, I get great joy, great pleasure, a great kick out of watching you guys actually make changes, improvements, so that you're wiser, happier, smarter, able to live your lives comfortably, freedom, and most of all, success and satisfaction. To become satisfied, that's the real teaching of the Buddha, and I get great joy watching all you guys getting it. Which is actually a whole bunch of nothing. When you see nothing at all satisfying, you've got it. And I'm really happy to see so many of you are getting it now. So, Michael, you take us another go at it.
I guess I'll give a little bit more of a personal story, but really it's impersonal. So I was born and raised in Oklahoma, and
we'll
as many
let
of
you
you
go
know,
for that one. I forgive you. I was born in Oklahoma also. Please forgive me.
So yeah, that's on the other side of the world from where I am right now. here in Thailand, and making the shift here really started to make more and more sense for me because of how much of the go, 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 you got to work hard, you got to work to eat sort of mentality that I had just been witnessing all over America. I've lived in New Mexico and Rhode Island, and I've been to many other states as well. And just all over America, it was so it was so rare to find people, let alone communities, that didn't have this mentality of you have to work hard in order to just be alive. And that didn't make any sense to me. So, I thought, well, might as well give Thailand a try. There seems to be other people who have done it and had great success. And in fact, Cathal, who's not on the call today, he was kind of the one that convinced me. He sent a video in one of our group chats and he was like, "Come to Thailand, y'all." And I was just like, yeah, okay. But saying all that to say, I do think it's very much worthwhile to find a community that I suppose we could say is accepting of nobles or the noble way of life. Because oftentimes in the Western world, there are communities that aren't just not accepting, they almost outcast these sort of nobles, or they reject them, or they really kind of want them out of the picture. I wouldn't go so far as to say as monks are persecuted in the U.S. or anything like that, but the monk way of life is just oftentimes very much so looked down upon.
There's
so
no
I'm very
money in it.
Yeah, there's no money in it, exactly. So I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, I just feel even by the Thais who I can hardly communicate with, I feel more accepted by them here than I did in my own home state. So yeah.
Yes, I have watched Michael improve a lot over the past 3 months. Many of the students will come and they'll sit and practice like a stone Buddha, like they've done in a meditation retreat hall or whatever like that, thinking that that's the way to go. But actually just sitting and talking with Michael and just hanging out, that's the real way to practice the Dhamma. The real way to practice the Dhamma is just to remember to be here now. Just be aware of what's going on. That's the real teaching. That formal sitting practice often doesn't have the value that it's made up to be. People do get great value out of that, and they tout it on a regular basis. But the real thing that makes meditation, or in our case, Dhamma Anapanasati, so valuable is it's a change model. And the change is made by being around people who have made that change so that you influence them. And so I'm very pleased to say that I've watched Michael grow. He's changed a lot. And I congratulate you, Michael, for your growth. I get a great big kick out of you being here. So, David, you're an old friend too. I'll give you another go before we finish the call.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can resonate a lot with what Michael said about the Western world. Yeah, this mentality that you have to work so hard for hardly anything, like just to pay for your rent, to pay for your apartment that you're hardly ever in because you're so busy working for it. So yeah, this mentality in the Western world, it just did not it in my mind anymore. So I'm happy to come here to Thailand to practice Dharma in a country that feels more Dhamma oriented, you could say, that feels more compatible with my views. And yeah, feels
Okay. So Daniel, you take one last go at it.
I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say, to be honest. But yeah, there's nothing much to it.
Okay. So does
I'm happy.
anybody else have any final things to say? How about you, Dhammadas?
Oh, just thank you for everything. And you guys are all awesome.
Yes, I'm really glad that we've had this call. It's helps to get the Sangha together for everybody to learn to be friends. And Michael, I also want to thank you for introducing Leonardo, to bring him into our community. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you all so much. Get some good giving out there. It's a good way to change the channel.
Excellent.
All right. Take care.
Anybody
Cheers.
got any last
you.
remarks
Thank you.
before we go? All right. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much. This has been great. This has been a great talk.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.